to the Dawgs podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs podcast. Josh All with you guys today, and I've got Kenny Mack from Canada joining me on this episode. Kenny, you said it's getting kind of chilly again up there in Canada. It's kind of cold here too in Ohio, so nothing better to do than to sit indoors, get on our virtual episode, and talk about the Colorado Pro Day from Friday. So much hype and buzz and news and rumors and all kinds of speculation coming out of Colorado when, you know, the headliners, obviously, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, were taking the main stage at the Pro Day. And obviously, there were some other players there too being scouted, but those were the main guys. So we'll talk about everything that came out of the Pro Day, give our opinions, and talk a little bit about how we're feeling the Browns are moving, what direction they're going heading into the draft. We're only a few weeks away now, and we'll cover all of that for you guys. Speaking of the draft, Kenny will be down live in studio on draft night, Thursday, April 24th. We are kicking things off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you guys like this video on YouTube, tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of the new updates or episodes, and so you don't miss our draft night live. It's the 5th annual, Kenny. 5th annual draft night live.
Yeah, I can't believe that, man. Time flies. I can't believe we've been doing it. I remember when you guys were in the bar.
Yep.
And I remember I was throwing a backer bash here in Ottawa. I remember Blake texting me going, "Hey man, can you get on the phone right now?" I'm like, "Oh, I can't. I'm busy. I'm throwing a bash right now." But hey, I'll be down there with you guys. I have a blast. It is always warmer down there, and I'm looking forward to some warmth, whether it's cloud covered or not.
I hope it's weather that we can deem warm for sure. I would be all about that. So yeah, make sure you guys mark that off. We'll be your second screen experience. Obviously, you're going to watch the draft, the first round on TV, ESPN, or wherever you watch it, but make sure you got us too, because we're starting things a half hour early. The Browns pretty much kick off the night right after. I mean, the Titans are taking Cam Ward. I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
The draft really starts at 2, right? With the Browns.
Yep.
So with the Browns, obviously, there's pretty much 4 top prospects. We knew that from the beginning of this whole process. The Browns originally brought in all 4 of their top guys for top 30 visits immediately after, I think it was right after the Combine, wasn't it? They brought in Abdul Carter, Shedeur Sanders, and Travis Hunter on a Monday. They wanted to bring all 4 together. They said scheduling didn't work out. Cam Ward came on Tuesday right after that. Those are their top 4 guys. So Colorado Pro Day was like the last event in a long line of things that took place this pre-draft process, and we were waiting for this because 2 of the 4, 50% of their top guys were at this Pro Day. You know, they did Cam Ward. Was that last week or the week before? They did, you know, they went and did they had a private workout with Cam Ward, and then they did one with Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, and all these guys. They went to Abdul Carter's Pro Day, which he's injured, which is, maybe we'll talk about that later, concerning to me. But, you know, so he didn't work out. So Kevin Stefanski goes to Jackson Dart's Pro Day, and everything was kind of just on hold now until Colorado. So the Browns, Albert Breer posted this on Twitter. I put it up on our Facebook. I said they pretty much sent their entire freaking organization to Boulder, Colorado for this Pro Day. They sent the owner, Jimmy Haslam, head coach Kevin Stefanski, general manager Andrew Berry, the assistant general managers Glenn Cook and Kat Hickman, executive vice president J.W. Johnson, offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, and the quarterback's coach Bill Musgrave all went out to watch this Pro Day. So it was all eyes. This was the only Pro Day that they sent this like full crew to go watch.
That was huge, and it's a big thing because Bill Musgrave is buddies with Deion Sanders.
Right.
He's showing up. He's going to want the best out of his son, and he sure showed it. And Bill Musgrave is going to be a huge asset to any quarterback room, period. But he probably has the inside scoop, as well as Kevin Stefanski from Pat Shurmur, who was their offensive coordinator. So the bodes very, very well for us. Yeah,
there were pictures of, you know, Kevin and AB talking to Deion Sanders, and then there was a picture out there with Kevin talking to Pat Shurmur, like you said, was Shedeur's offensive coordinator there at Colorado. And while Shedeur was obviously he's the most hotly debated prospect, I think of this entire draft process. I feel like, and you mentioned it before the show, Travis Hunter kind of stole the show at the pro day. And I want to talk about Travis Hunter first because the Browns went out to Colorado Thursday and they took Shedeur and Travis out to dinner. And from what I understand, reading through tweets and posts from the people that were out at the pro day, Travis Hunter was not going to work out. He was going to attend the pro day, do interviews, talk to the teams that were there, but he wasn't going to do any workouts. He goes to dinner with the Browns Thursday night and then shows up Friday and says, you know what, I think I'll go ahead and run some routes. And it's very interesting to me that he decided to do that after talking to the Browns when Andrew Berry was the very first, as far as I understand, the first like team executive to really come out and publicly say, no, we view him as a wide receiver mostly. Because everybody was talking, well, he's a cornerback. We could use him at wide receiver. And Andrew Berry at the combine came out and said, no, I see him as a wide receiver. So then he goes to dinner with the Browns, comes out, and at the pro day doesn't do the cornerback drills, does the wide receiver drills. What do you think about that?
I think he looked fantastic. We were talking about the pro day before. He blew me away. I didn't really watch any tape on Travis Hunter. I've been so locked into the quarterback position for the Browns because it's such a big need that I haven't really watched him. He is so fluid. Like, he is so balanced when he runs a route. He sidesteps, jukes, and it's like he's going in slow motion. He snatches the ball out of the air. He never waits for it to come to him. He just blew me away. And I've been just hammering for a quarterback at the number 2 because we need one so bad. Dane Brugler said it himself. You don't have a quarterback, you don't have anything. And now I'm like, I think my $100 gift certificate for the Browns is going to be buying me a Hunter jersey, man. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I mean, the vibes after Friday really were all about Travis Hunter. And I've got some quarterback opinion that I'll talk about here in a minute. If you guys have watched the mock drafts and stuff in the last week or so, you kind of know where I'm feeling on the quarterback position. But, you know, Travis Hunter, he goes out there and he runs the routes. First of all, he wasn't even scheduled to do so. And he just kind of last minute says, okay, I'll do this today. And I saw a tweet from Louis Riddick said, because he was at the pro day, and he said, in all my years being at pro days, covering football players, scouting guys, I've never seen a guy go out, run routes, and catch that many passes without gloves. And I never once heard the ball smack his hands, and he never once bobbled it. And that, to me, that stood out because, yeah, you see these guys, they all wear gloves, you know, and they got the sticky, you know, and everything. They give themselves as much advantage as possible. Travis Hunter went out there, no gloves, didn't bobble a pass, didn't drop a pass. And like Riddick was saying, I never even heard it smack the skin on his hands. Like, he's got such soft hands when he pulls that ball in. And when I did the tape on Shedeur Sanders, I mean, I liked some of the stuff I saw with Shedeur. He never really blew me away on film, but I kept finding myself gravitating toward Travis Hunter in the tape. I'm like, man, this guy is amazing. And especially when you get the ball in his hands, he can make guys miss, and the contested catch stuff. And Dion said it, you know, there is no jump ball. It's Travis's ball. And I saw that on tape. Like, he bailed Shedeur out on some kind of, you know, questionable throws that he came down with because he just goes up and he'll man get it from you.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. He's so fluid out there. I don't know if you watched the NFL Network portion of it. Bucky Brooks is big on Shedeur, but man, they were gushing over, like I said, the fluidity, the multifaceted athlete. I think even Steve Smith Jr. he gave a little bit of critique, but he's like, this guy is a baller. And the biggest thing about him is he does need to concentrate specifically on receiver because he could be a very, very good one. He's basically said, like, if you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none.
Right.
And in the NFL, you get paid to be a craftsman. And he could be one of the best receiver, you know, craftsmen out there because he's got the skill.
He really does.
Yeah, you don't want to see it. Reed really, you know, at 185 pounds, I think he's 6'1". Do you really want to see him tackle running backs when he has all that God-given ability to catch the ball? I don't, man. Play receiver, brother. You're going to do well.
Yeah, and there's so many people online. I mean, it's crazy how divided Browns fans are on every freaking topic. But when it comes to Travis Hunter, some people are, yes, this guy's awesome. Some people are saying he's going to be a bust. I'm like, what? I see a lot of people say, well, he would be wide receiver 3 on our team. What? Wide receiver 3? He comes in, he's instantly wide receiver 1. The 185 pounds or whatever, do people not understand that the NFL has weight training programs? These kids that come out of college, first of all, when you come out of your playing weight, what you're listed as during the season is always higher than what your NFL draft profile says, because everybody cuts weight for the combine and for the pro days and to run the drills and stuff and to be faster. They're going to put weight on. They're going to put muscle on, these kids. They're going to probably gain at minimum 10 to 15 pounds, I would imagine, over the first summer going into that first season.
Yeah, so that's a really good point. And that was mentioned several times. And it was mentioned for both prospects, both by the panelists. So it was Bucky Brooks, Daniel Jeremiah, and those guys that run Moving the Chains. And then Brian Baldiner came on and he said the exact same thing. Both guys were thicker around the chest and thicker in the thighs. They're obviously taking the offseason and prepping up for the NFL draft very seriously. And it didn't really affect their performance because there are you can get too big for those positions.
Right.
And it doesn't seem, especially with Travis Hunter and his fluidity, like he just moves very graceful out there. And he's gonna undress some DBs out there, man.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, when I see a lot of comments on social media, I feel, and I'm not saying this in a mean way, but I can kind of gauge the generation that a person is coming from when they say certain things, because the people that pound the table for, I need a big, like 6'4", 220 pound wide receiver. He's got to be a big body guy, blah, blah, blah. That's not today's NFL. You look at the receivers that really excel today. It's the 5'11", 6'6'1" guys, the 185 to about 205 guys. Like they're smaller, they're quicker. It's all about creating separation and route running versus just out physicaling everybody on the other side of the ball. And I think that Travis Hunter just fits. Like he fits what the NFL is doing right now. I think he comes in and within the first couple years of his rookie, contract, he could be one of the top receivers in the league.
Yeah, sometimes I think too. I mean, if you're going to look at the boomer side, like I'm closer to that. Generally, when you see guys that don't like Hunter, they're basically saying, I don't like Desmond Howard. And that was a comparison way back in the day. And he is especially from the Buckeye State, you don't hear about any Wolf. Right. The other thing is like the big receivers. I mean, there is a lot of animosity towards Baker Mayfield and him being a lot better. Mike Evans makes him a hell of a lot better. Mike Evans made Johnny Manziel look really good in college, and people are looking for that guy. And that's why they like Tet out of Arizona State, and that could be where it's coming from. There's some other big receivers like A.J. Brown. If you're taking a look at the Philadelphia Eagles, for example, we really kind of already have our Devontae Smith guy, right? That's Jerry Jeudy. So you'd be getting another guy like that in Travis Hunter with better, more elite skills. But A.J. Brown would be the other guy they're looking for, the big chain-moving receiver. So you could potentially get both, and there are guys down the draft other than Tet that you could possibly get.
Right, but your big physical receiver too that you're hoping continues to develop and break out from last year before the concussion is Cedric Tillman.
Good point, yeah.
And, I'm big on like Trey Harris would be a big bodied receiver that we could get maybe in the second round or somewhere in the late in the second, move up from that first pick in the third round that we have or whatever. But either way, I mean, Hunter won the Biletnikoff, the best wide receiver award, and he won the defensive player of the year award. He's the only player in college football history to win both of those awards in the same season. He is a complete unicorn. And it all boils down to what the Browns think of Shedeur Sanders. Because if they think that he can be their franchise quarterback and turn things around, then I think they have to take him. But if they don't, or if they think, and we can talk about this too, that there's a chance he's going to slide. Maybe they've got some sort of plan in place where if he gets past, this team or that team, we're going to start talking to whoever's on the clock, and this is the package we're going to offer to try to get back in there and pair these two back up in the pros.
Yeah, that I would love that. I mean, even Andrew Berry stated something, maybe kind of off the cuff remark like that. And I mean, who wouldn't want that? That's unreal potential between those two to bring something from college, which we saw Jarvis and Odell do. I mean, they still had 1,000 seasons together. And if these guys can do it as a quarterback and a receiver combo, It'd be unreal for the Browns. With that though, that the likelihood of that happening, that would be tough. I mean, Sanders would have to fall maybe to the Buccaneers or something. I've mocked a couple times, like 2 seconds, and was it a player or another draft pick? And that kind of worked in that scenario. And again, it's just a mock draft, so who knows what it would really take to move up from our number 33 pick all the way up to like 17 or something. It's not realistic.
I think it's okay. It is a realistic possibility. I don't think it's a high likelihood. I mean, It just depends on how far he falls, because if he falls, then there's a good chance that means Jackson Dart is also falling, because he is kind of the consensus QB3 in this class. So, if you see Shedeur get past the top 10 and he's into like the middle, 13, 14, 15 range, that means Jackson Dart's probably still on the clock too. So every pick that goes by that neither of those guys get selected, that's just a cheaper price the Browns are going to have to pay if they want to come up and get one of them. And maybe they're okay with either one. Maybe they're thinking, let's take Hunter at 2, because right now my money would be on Travis Hunter. I think, the reports that Andrew Berry was allegedly just glued to Travis Hunter. Like they said, he was watching intently as he would like stretch and work out. I think Andrew Berry was really scouting Travis Hunter. Like, how do you prep? What kind of, person are you off the field? What kind of leader and all that kind of stuff? So my money would be on Travis Hunter right now, but then they're probably eyeing these guys up thinking, okay, we could potentially move back in to get either Shedeur, or maybe we like Jackson Dart just as much, and we're okay moving back up to get him too.
Yeah, I would be fine with that. I mean, as far as Jackson Dart's concerned, I think he's just a higher level Kenny Pickett. You got 2 guys that are rhythmic passers that have a lot of athletic ability that would do well in a Stefanski offense. That being said, though, if you can get Shedeur Sanders, he's had a lot of comps to Kirk Cousins, and they're very, very similar. I mean, if you had the chance to draft a young Kirk Cousins now at number 2, would you do it based on the career and what you know now? You probably would. He also excels in Kevin Stefanski's offense. If you take a quick look, like their arm strength, if you compare the two coming out, Shedeur's slightly better, and I think he proved that in his pro day. Accuracy and ball placement, the advantage is pretty even. They're both very accurate. Shedeur might have a slight edge because of all the pressure that he faced. Decision making and processing, while Kirk Cousins was very good, Shedeur Sanders is considered elite. Pocket presence and pressure handling. Man, the actual advantage is Kurt on this. I don't get that because Shedeur was under a lot of pressure and he really stabilized that university's football program. Mobility and playmaking, again, it's Shedeur over Kirk Cousins. And then leadership and mental toughness, they're both even. Pro readiness and system fit. For Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees, give me both of them, man. That's going to be good. Again, systematic, rhythmic passers that excel at short and intermediate passes. Let's get Shedeur. I mean, it's a no-brainer. But we're talking about both prospects, and I'll tell you, Hunter made my jaw drop. He is a special athlete. He
really is. And so there was, press conferences and stuff after the pro day and all that kind of stuff. So Deion Sanders is at the podium. They're asking him questions, and I forget what exactly the question was, but his quote was, I think one of those guys, meaning Shedeur or Travis, is going to be there, meaning they're in Cleveland. Because he was asked about Jimmy Haslam, his conversation with the Browns and other stuff, and he said, I think one of those guys is going to be there. So, obviously he got the impression, very strong impression, that the Browns were enamored with either both of them or one of them specifically, not sure which. A lot of people are kind of interpreting the way he was smiling and grinning during that statement, that it was kind of like a proud dad moment, meaning, hey, my kid's going number 2. Or maybe it was just, hey, Travis Hunter's like a kid to me too. He's been with me since Jackson State. He's come along the ride, and I got both my guys here. So either way, he seems pretty confident that the Browns are taking one of these two. So I thought that was interesting. This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order. And that code can be used over and over. So you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. Dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Deion Sanders, of course you want the number 2 pick coming out of your university, just being the head coach. I mean, being the father, obviously that's a proud moment as well. But if you want to go back and dial it back to what we were saying earlier, you don't really have anything if you don't have a quarterback. Shedeur Sanders himself, if you just take away everything that we just saw and you only had a presser with him, he would impress me just with his ability to be as optimistic and upbeat as his dad. I 100% see that he's a leader in just the way that he carries himself and handles himself. Even if you looked at the pro day before, the way the guys came together, people gravitated towards him. It's a lot like what they said about Baker Mayfield. He was like the Pied Piper of Oklahoma. Same thing with this guy in Colorado. And I would came very impressed with both. But if you're going to draft number 2, I can't help but feel you would want to take the more elite characteristics out of a player that can be a defensive back, receiver. He could possibly be a third down specialist. He could even be a punt returner, something we've sorely lacked since Josh Cribbs has been there. But I mean, again, I don't know if you want to put him under that kind of pressure with all 3, or you want to get him hurt on something like that when he's so valuable for third down efficiency on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, Shedeur Sanders, going to him, I thought his pro day he had a nice pro day. Jordan Schultz posted that he spoke while he was at the pro day. He spoke to a top level executive while he was there, and that person told him, quote, "I just think he throws a really catchable ball. Accuracy is one thing, but catchability is another. Shedeur's got both. And watching him live today, there was more power, more velocity than what I expected. He's definitely a pocket guy, but athletic enough to buy time and make plays. His offensive line was always an issue in college, but turnovers never were. At the pro day, he completed 62 of 67 passes. 3 of those 5 incomplete passes were drops by the receivers. So he was the most accurate quarterback in the nation and, in the season. And at the pro day, he just kept it going.
Yeah, I mean, those are all hard things to pass up based on the quarterback situation that we went through last year. Like the catchability versus accuracy comments. I've heard those for the last 3 days. That is huge for this offense that Stefanski and Reese are making together. The timing, the rhythmic passing that we've said a number of times just in this very episode is going to make this offense go. Mm-hmm. And you need a guy. It comes down to the chicken or the hen. You get all the offensive parts first and then eventually get the quarterback, or do you put the quarterback in and get all the offensive parts around him?
Yeah, I agree with you. And, when I watched the tape on Cam Ward first, I was definitely blown away by the arm talent, the way he just flicks his wrist and it's gone, and he can just laser passes into tight spaces and the arm angles and the deep ball and all that stuff. I was like, wow, this guy's got it. Then when I watched Shedeur, I remember not being quite as impressed with that kind of stuff. But what impressed me a lot about Shedeur's tape, and I think I've mentioned this before, it was like he can kind of just gently float a pass up over, a linebacker or, the second level and just drop it right into the bucket of his receiver. It's you have to watch it to understand exactly. I'm having a hard time describing it, but he the touch he puts on the passes is so nice. It really is.
No, you're describing it just the way it is. Like in his long passes, they were going fast and then they would just drop right in the breadbasket. Like when you catch a ball, you always make it a triangle. It's either like this or like this. If you're catching it over your head, you make the triangle like this. It's coming over your head and it would just drop right in their breadbasket. It was great to see that he had that touch. And based on under the duress that he was constantly under, you might have not seen that at Colorado this year because he didn't have any time. So under a better offensive line and no pressure in this case on a pro day, it looked fantastic.
It did. So, I mean, I don't think I could fault the Browns either way they go, honestly. It just boils down to the evaluation they came away with as Shedeur, our guy. Like, you have got to have full 100% conviction that he is our guy to take that quarterback at 2 versus if you're not so sure he is, well, then you've got a couple other quarterbacks that you really like in this class that you're also not that sure. So why don't you swing on somebody a little later, later in the first or early in the second, and take Travis Hunter so you make sure you get that. I think he is a generational talent. I mean, I've never seen anybody do what he's done.
No, I agree. And from the development and crafting yourself and honing all your skills in one position and, concentrating on that receiver position, you might be only getting 70% of what he is right now. Right.
Yes.
If he's at 100% and it's going to be that much better, I'm willing to roll that dice. And again, I'm going to buy that jersey right away. If we draft Sanders, I'll still buy that jersey. I think he's with the pedigree and everything that he's learned from his father and how to handle the business, the media side of it. You need that in Cleveland too. So yes, both prospects are great. Yes, if I'm Andrew Berry, I would want both of them. I think it's a no-brainer, but they both look great for the Cleveland Browns.
Absolutely. And you made a great point. I mean, what you're getting with every single prospect ever coming out of college is a prospect. You're getting a raw piece of talent. And then they're saying, hey, this is what he was in college. But then this is why the evaluation process is so freaking important. How coachable are these young players? Because, we've had not coachable players before. Deshaun Watson didn't want to be coached. Johnny Manziel didn't want to be coached. If these guys want to come in and be coached, that's how they grow and learn. Like Travis Hunter, he wasn't focusing 100% of his time in college on being a wide receiver. He was maybe 50% because he's got to do 50% at wide receiver. He's got to do at least 50% at the defensive back position. And then you got school and everything else that's going on. So you get into the NFL, if you are able to and I know he's probably going to want to do some of both, but if he can be convinced, like just focus on receiver and continue to develop your route running a little more. And I mean, he's already got the knowledge of how defensive backs want to play receivers because he is one. I think the sky's the limit for this kid.
Yeah, I do too. If you're going to bet on potential, then bet on him. Either way, it fulfills a need for me. I can't take Abdul Carter. I can't take Mason Graham. I can't take these guys. I just can't watch this team average 15.2 points a game. It's going to drive me bonkers. Yeah. I need weapons. I need weapons from 104 all the way up to the number 2 pick. Get me some studs on this offense to make the ball move. I want my money's worth when I pay for these tickets and I'm paying for this new stadium.
So let's talk about Abdul Carter just real quick, because I've been making these comments to people, the people that really want Abdul Carter. And don't get me wrong out there. People don't hear what I'm not saying. I think Abdul Carter is a great prospect. He's probably going to be a great pro. But how many times, and you're lying to yourself if you say never, have you heard yourself or another Browns fan, your buddy, your dad, your kid, whatever, say, man, Myles Garrett's not showing up this game. Myles Garrett's not making an impact. Myles Garrett's not doing enough on defense. Myles Garrett is on a Hall of Fame trajectory, only player in the NFL with 10 plus sacks in the last 7 seasons straight. He's the best edge rusher, pure pass rusher in the NFL. And we still bitch about him. So how much more disappointed are we going to be when we draft another edge rusher at 2? And he comes in and, in week 4 against the Steelers, he has 0 sacks, 0 tackles, and a blank stat line. Oh,
Yeah.
you just wait for the gripes.
Yeah. It's a tough thing because I'm on the Blake train for this. Number one, I just don't think he's a schematic fit. I think he's a fantastic player, but I would see him more like TJ Watt, like a hand down and a 3-4. He's 240 pounds. I don't want to say soaking wet, but I mean, you know what I mean? He's a freak athlete that can rush the passer, but I don't think he's a fit for a Jim Schwartz defense. He's also, I mean, with all the injuries that we have, can you guys seriously in the comments tell me, do you really want to gamble on a guy that's going into the draft, potentially to be drafted with a foot injury? No, thanks. The other thing is, I'm going to go back to what I said 5 minutes ago. I cannot watch 15.2 points a game. I can't. Give me some weapons.
Dude, I'm with you. I am so with you. And you just, you can't project injury. You can't do that kind of stuff. I understand it. But at the same time, we are 100%. Browns fans. We have watched this BS for years. You just know if we draft Abdul Carter at 2 and we bypass quarterback, we bypass Travis Hunter, he's getting foot surgery at week 3 and he's out for the rest of the season in his rookie year. You know that's going to happen. And we're going to be so frustrated because now we don't have our top pick for this whole year. And I know that might not happen, but you just know, like that's our luck.
Oh, and it's just sheer physics based on the way that Schwartz plays his defense and the wide 9 scheme. If you have a lot of off tackle plays going your way, which I would scheme against Abdul Carter, I'd be ramming a running back down his throat until he figures it out. And 300 pounds versus 240 versus if you're Miles, you run 300 pounds at 297 or whatever he's at, 287. Just big difference.
Yeah, well, Miles also benching like 500. So, he's just bigger. He's bigger. He's stronger. Yeah. He can body those bigger linemen because it's nothing to him. And the other thing with Abdul Carter that I've been trying to kind of get across to people is how many times a game are we bitching and moaning about Myles Garrett getting held and getting no calls? They're just going to do the same thing to Carter. And then we get to sit there and complain about 2 guys getting held and getting no calls for it. And it's just, I see more frustration watching games if we draft Abdul Carter at 2 because we're using a high capital pick on this guy than we would because if Travis Hunter is the pick at 2 and he goes out there and plays wide receiver, as long as we have competent quarterback play, he is going to be fantastic. He's going to be fun to watch and he's going to do things. I'm not as confident on the other side of the ball with Carter.
No, yeah, I'm not either. I mean, if he gets drafted number 1, I'll still buy his jersey, whatever. I would cheer for him. I'll cheer for him to be Brown, but based on potential and what I've just witnessed with my own eyes of Travis Hunter, he is the best athlete in this league. Or not league, I meant best athlete in this draft, and you should take your number 2 overall pick and pick the best athlete in the draft.
Another thing that it just came in my head, talking about Abdul Carter, I did see, and I don't have it in front of me, so I can't quote it exactly, but some comment in a write-up article about him apparently not maybe being the best worker, like during the practice week, something. I'd have to find the article to actually quote it, but it made me think about Shedeur and McMillan and people, having the debate, well, is he better than Travis Hunter and all this stuff? And then Shedeur was I don't know if he was on a news show, podcast, whatever, and he made the comment, I don't watch film. And they were like, what? And he said, yeah, I don't watch film. He's like, I don't really know how to study film, so I just don't do it. And I know a lot of people were like, maybe you shouldn't have said that, buddy, because you might have cost yourself a spot or 2 in the draft. I don't know. I just, if you're not a true student of the game, I think at the NFL level, it could be a steeper learning curve.
Yeah, I get for both Shedeur and I get for Hunter. I get the vibe from everything that I've read that they are true students of the game. Mm-hmm. I think too many times we've hit and missed on guys that had great stats in the NCAA and then they haven't produced as Browns because they just didn't have any passion for the game, or they didn't have the passion they needed, I should say. These guys seem to eat, breathe, walk, talk football. Travis Hunter, I think Dion said at his presser, the guy it's football or nothing. and with Shedeur, he just knows pro sports and how to handle it because of his old man. And that's what you need on this team. And I'm ready to roll the dice on either one. But again, I like what I see out of Travis Hunter.
Yeah, just to kind of put a bow on the Colorado Pro Day talk here. One of the last things out of Friday, who was it? Jeff Foe? I can't read the name. Sorry. Had a quote said there's a growing belief that Travis Hunter is the favorite to be selected number 2 by the Cleveland Browns. ESPN 850 was tweeting that. I posted it out there. It just, when that pro day finished up, it just felt like all the vibes were Travis Hunter. And if you remember last week, that was the growing vibe all week long up into the pro day. So to come out of it with it being even stronger, I think it's a good indicator that Travis Hunter is going to be that pick at 2.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the versatility that we're looking for. He's got the toughness. The toughness is kind of in the passion of the football. He's got, I guess, to play all the positions he possibly can, you have to be a mass processor of information. Those are 3 main traits that the Browns are looking for. So, I mean, it seems to be, again, I'm going to say it again, it seems to be a no-brainer for them that's going to be the second pick overall. But yeah. It always, in the back of my mind when I say that, we need a quarterback.
I know we do. Well, and let's talk about that, because one thing to keep in mind with Shedeur Sanders now, the Browns are not doing a private, as of now, as of this recording, what is it, April 8th or 6th? April 6th. I can't even read my screen here.
Yeah, 6th.
They do not have a private workout scheduled with Shedeur Sanders. So they took him out to dinner. They went to the pro day. They had him in for a top 30 visit. They went to the combine. They've met with him, seen him a lot, but they did not schedule a private workout with him. They did do private workouts with Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, and the quarterback that I actually am really growing high on, Jalen Milroe. This episode is brought to you by Bodden Sports. Browns fans, Bodden Sports is your one-stop shop for all your athletic gear. Bodden started out perfecting and manufacturing the best balls in the business. Yeah, if that sounded dirty, that's more about your mind than my words. But hey, it's true. Baseballs, softballs, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, you name it, and Bodden has engineered the highest standard sports balls available. And now they offer more than just sports balls. If you got kids playing baseball or softball, Bodden has batting gloves and bats to go along with both game balls and training balls. If you're into basketball, Bodden makes basketball specifically for indoor or outdoor use. Heck, Bodden even has all the equipment you need for pickleball, which is one sport that I hear everyone is playing, and yet I still never have. And I need to fix that soon. But don't miss the backyard games section of Bodden's website, where you can order everything you need for this upcoming outdoor season. Pool balls, backyard volleyball nets, croquet, bocce, horseshoes, cornhole, and more. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order at Bodden Sports, BADEN Sports.com/dogs, DAWGS, and use promo code DOGS when you check out. That's 10% off all the top quality sporting gear you need this season. BoddenSports.com/dogs.
What's up, Browns fans? If you're watching this, you already know me as a host of your favorite Browns podcast, but what you may not know about me is that I'm also a licensed realtor here in the state of Ohio. So if you're local to Tuscarawas County or Stark County, or you just need help finding a trusted agent in your area, shoot me an email at agentblakereniker@gmail.com to see how I can help you reach your real estate goals.
So we can talk about that for a second. Maybe we'll wrap this thing up after a little Milroe discussion, but I can't talk about Jalen Milroe, I don't think, on the show with Blake, because that's a no-go. Blake hates Jalen Milroe, wants nothing to do with him. Yeah. And I started out.
You guys should be in the Discord and hear him. It's even better.
Oh yeah. There you go. Join the dogs.com, everybody. Jump in there. Get into the dog pack community. The private Discord is all popping off right now this draft season. It's been a ton of fun in there. But yeah, I started out this whole process very low. I was like, I don't want anything to do with Jalen Milroe, but I hadn't dug into him yet at that point. And after digging into him and everything, you made the comment a second ago. You said, Hunter and Shedeur, they're students of the game. Jalen Milroe is a student of the game. And, we talked about how these guys in college, they're not finished products. And in college, a lot of times you do what you can get away with. And coaches don't care. Coaches will let you do what you can get away with because they're focused on winning games. So if Jalen Milroe can help Alabama win football games and his footwork isn't the best and his dropbacks aren't, very polished or anything like that, who cares? You're still winning ball games. You don't have time to fix those things during the season because you're trying to focus on the next opponent. So, Jalen Milroe, I was watching some, film breakdowns on him and some things like that from, former quarterbacks. And immediately they were like, well, his footwork's terrible. Like his stance is terrible. His drop back is terrible. If he would fix his stance, just put one foot in front of the other, it would take a full second off his drop back. Then he could get into his read faster and all this kind of stuff. And Jalen Milroe has been working with Jordan Palmer the entire offseason. And when he went to the Senior Bowl, he looked horrible. All that mechanic stuff was on full display. Then he goes and works with Jordan Palmer, goes to the combine, looks better. Then he goes to his pro day and he looks great. By all accounts, just looked great at his pro day. Footwork was better. Footwork was much improved. Student of the game, he's already fixing things that he knows he needs to fix. And by interviews and stuff and quotes from him, he seems like a very coachable athlete. And everybody, he's like he won the academic Heisman Award. I forget what that's called. He's getting his master's degree. He's a super smart kid. So I feel like you get him back with Tommy Rees, who ran a pro-style offense at Alabama with Jalen Milroe making full field reads in 2023. That was his best season in college. Get him back in here with Tommy Rees and then get somebody else in here to start for 2025 so he doesn't have to. And then let's see what happens in 26. Because I think Jalen Milroe has the highest ceiling of this quarterback class if he can just put the passing together, because on the ground, he'll kill you.
Yeah, so I did a little bit on him, and I was looking for it while you were speaking. So why they would want to do it is the play action ability and the deep throw. That's the big thing. Lots of vertical flood route concepts that he could take with him that he did with Reese in Alabama. He's an explosive elite athlete. He, like Hunter, is one of the better athletes in the entire draft, probably the best quarterback prospect as far as just being an athlete's concerned. And it's the arm strength. He's not a clean fit, though. Obviously, there's a processing concern for him. Short to intermediate accuracy. I think if he does what you said and he can clean up his footwork, that's where the problem is. That generally when your feet aren't set, you tend to sail passes to the flats, which happens with him. So that's something that can be taken care of. The other thing is what Blake says, he's got a huge offensive line in front of him. I guess it's his under center operation that's not the greatest, but that's something. I don't think you would start this guy. This is why you have Kenny Pickett, right?
And maybe trade for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, something along that line. So you would, overall, he's not a plug and play player is what I found out for the Stefanski-Reese offense. So whatever Reese is there for, he would have to tailor whatever Stefanski's offense is to him. So he would be like a scheme adaptation, a draft, and they could unlock a new potential. If in my scenario, if you are serious about getting Jalen Milroe and you want to incorporate the positives or what Reese knows and could enhance Stefanski's offense, get Genty. Genty and Milroe together should be able to make any offense run in the NFL. You got 4.3 speed and an uncanny ability in a running back that can at least get you 4 to 5 yards every single time. That will definitely help us out with our third down efficiency. But again, to dial it back, I still like Hunter. I still like Shedeur. But if I'm going to get Milroe, it's got to be a high-end running back that I'm pairing up with that guy for the future. So even, is it Omarion Hampton? Mm-hmm. I would get him. He reminds me of a little bit of Chubb, but I would need a top-tier running back to help that kid out. And that would help any quarterback out, don't get me wrong.
That's what I was going to say. We need a top-tier or running back no matter what. We got to.
100%.
Got to. I just, we talk all the time about, the fit for Stefanski's offense and all this stuff, but we got to remember too, it's not going to be, or at least from what they tell us, and I mean, I don't trust everything they tell us anymore, but it's not supposed to be the exact Stefanski offense of old. It was going to be, we're going to get back to his concepts, but we're going to have Tommy Rees modernize it and help bring in new college concepts into it. So, they're not going to get away from the RPO game. I mean, it's so beneficial in the NFL if you can run that effectively. And if you've got a guy like Jalen Milroe, that helps you in that phase of the game as well. So for me, if it is Travis Hunter at 2, obviously we're going to be on draft night talking about, well, let's see how far Shedeur falls. And then if he goes 3 to Giants, we'll quit talking about it. And then hey, let's see if they move up and get Jackson Dart. But as soon as these guys go, my focus will be Jalen Milroe, because I think that's probably the most realistic draft pick for the Browns if they're going to take one of their top 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, there's another guy that's with Jalen Milroe right now too, and I know Blake hates the guy. It's Kyle McCord, and I just heard some unreal stuff about him. Blake and I got into it on an episode together, and just with his ball strength, ball placement, accuracy, with all this new technology that they have coming in, he was 95 percentile of the current quarterbacks. Again, this would be a guy, he would be 5th on my list though, guys. Like, let's get this right. I'm not saying like, let's get him at the 33 pick or anything. This is, if we're doing like the chicken egg thing that I talked about earlier, you're basically getting all the weapons around Kenny Pickett right now. And then after 104, you get Kyle McCord, and he's athletic enough. He's a rhythmic passer, and along the lines of Shedeur, Jackson Dart, what's his name, Kirk Cousins, and he just falls in that line. But again, that's going to be a 5th round pick, and it's something that he would take a bit, maybe a year or 2 to adapt, get to the NFL level. But he seems to have all those traits that we talked about, all those other prospects in this episode. So why not consider him either?
Yeah. And the only thing with McCord and any of these other quarterbacks, Will Howard, Quinn Ewers, I know some people talk about him. The Browns have only met with 5 guys. 5 guys. That's it. It's the 4 the 3 they've worked out privately, then Shedeur, and they brought in Tyler Shuck for a visit. That's it. So could they take one of these other quarterbacks later that they haven't met with? Yeah, absolutely. But I wouldn't expect them to use anything higher than a 4, or, a 5th. I don't think they would use any of their top 100. And nothing before the 6th round probably on a quarterback that they have not met with. I'd be shocked. And I think McCord's probably going to be, what do you think, a 3rd round pick?
Yeah, it just depends where they go. I think I see. Are you seeing a mock getting 4 or 5 around there? 4 or 5 round, maybe. Maybe he's gone up at this point. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd have to pull it up to see. But I mean, we got to pump the brakes a little bit, everybody, on these mid to late round quarterbacks, because I know coming out of college, they go, hey, this guy looked good at Syracuse. This guy looked good over here. The mid round guys rarely ever do anything. Like, I was putting together a list, and I'll post it on socials either later today or tomorrow, of all the quarterbacks since 2020 that have been drafted and where they've been drafted. And you are not going to see probably any stars, meaning starters, next to any names 4th, 5th round beyond.
Yeah, I mean, in my entire time, like, I think I know of maybe 2, 3 guys. I'm going to be 50 this year, guys, that are like Brock Purdy. In
Kenny's
my
got
entire
experience,
time
guys.
on this earth. You know what I mean? So, like, good luck.
Yeah, and it just cracks me up. Everybody says, "Oh, it's a weak draft or weak quarterback class. You can't take one at 2, but you can get your guy in the 3rd." What?
Yeah, like,
if it's a weak class, how the hell are you getting a guy in the 3rd if you can't get a guy in the 1st?
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. I mean, and I know we debate and we bicker, as Browns fans and everything, but it all comes from the same place of passion. We just want this team to be freaking good, fun to watch,
win, baby.
And win some damn games. And whether you're an Abdul Carter at 2, Hunter at 2, Shedeur at 2, trade back and get Mason Graham, whatever you want them to do, it all comes from the same place. We just want them to win freaking ball games. So I try to remember that when I'm arguing with people too. Like, I may not agree with how you want them to, the path you want them to take to win games, but I agree with your premise. Let's just freaking be good. I'm tired of sucking.
Yeah. Oh man, 100%. And let's just be good on offense, because I can't stand the 32nd place that we were in that scoring offense and, turnovers and everything. Like, let's get some guys that can hold on the ball. Let's move the chain, score some touchdowns, and have some fun.
Dude, last year was so hard to watch. Oh my gosh. I just don't understand how anybody could watch the offense last year for 17 games and want a defensive player at 2. It blows my mind.
I'm the same, man. And it's like you said, it was really from the first game, like against the Cowboys, and it just spiraled all the way down. Like, even Jacksonville, that win felt like a loss. Yeah. Like, it's like the puncher won the game. That's bizarre.
Yeah. Well, we didn't score 20 points in that game either. So it's just,
no, not even.
Frustrating, but I appreciate you jumping in here, Kenny, and talking about all this stuff from Friday and everything. Let us know in the comments, guys. What were your thoughts coming out of the Colorado Pro Day on Friday here over the weekend? Are you feeling the vibes and the reports that the Browns are locked into Travis Hunter? Or do you think they're still probably in play for Shedeur? Do you think there's a chance they can trade back in and get both these guys? Which, hey, it might cost quite a bit to do that, but hell, if they're able to do it, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I would be freaking jacked. Like, at least it would be fun until it's not, right?
Yeah. I mean, the only or stuff that I have against him is, listening to his father all the time. And I don't necessarily dislike Dion. It's just, I don't want the, Browns media, when things go bad, to just keep asking him. He's not the coach, So that's going to be inevitable. If Sanders becomes our pick in number 2 in this year's draft, and I'll have to get over it. But that's something that would be kind of annoying, coach's feedback from another team.
Yeah, I will say, and maybe we'll see what happens wherever Shedeur goes. Maybe I'm dead wrong about this. I'm not really all that concerned about Dion, to be honest with you. I think that his personality and stuff is blown way out of proportion by the media. That he's going to be some problem dude or whatever. You guys got to remember, he's the head coach of a freaking college football team. He can't go out there and be an idiot and do stupid things or say dumb things about a professional team and hope that his college players are still going to respect him and still want to come there and play for him. And what if I go in the top 5 of the NFL draft and then he says something that derails my career? He's not going to derail his own son's career. I'm not as concerned about it as other people. I think there's a little too much overblown with Dion.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. And I think more of it is just like the Cleveland media and their reasoning and analyzing cryptic comments that really aren't cryptic comments, or, you're going to hear like, oh, Dion said this, does it mean this? And I'm just going to have to hit snooze and not follow those. It's just a Ken problem and nobody else's.
Yeah. Yeah, I know somebody online said, oh, we don't need another OBJ dad, and I'm like Deion Sanders is a Hall of Fame football player, college football head coach. Maybe he has head coaching aspirations in the NFL. It's a little different than OBJ's dad, just a little bit. You got this public, you are a public figure in the sports industry. Like, you are a celebrity. I don't think he's going to do anything stupid, off the wall, to destroy an NFL team. That would just ruin his reputation and his career. It just doesn't make sense to me, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. It's just a story in my head and I got to let it go, bridge that gap and, get it out of there.
Yeah. And hey, like I said, maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe it will be a problem, but we will find out not too long, because the draft's in a couple weeks and then it is camps and it's summertime coming around the corner. And then that summer flies by and then boom, it's football season, and I can't wait.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm freaking pumped.
Yeah. So let us know, guys, what you think about everything we talked about in here. We'll get in there and respond to you, and we'll talk about it all. And if you want to talk to everybody else in the Browns community that we have going on, the Dog Pack, jointhedawgs.com. Sign up. It's $5 a month at the base level. You get access to everything, the private Discord. You get access to the fantasy football leagues. You can sign up for those when they come around. We've got dynasty leagues in there, so there's stuff going on right now. It's just a year-round, great time, great community of Browns fans, and we've made some lifelong friends in there. I mean, Kenny, we got started on Facebook. Yeah. I mean, that went through the Dog Pack, and now you're, a often co-host of the show. Like,
Yeah,
It's
man,
been
I've had a
great.
blast. I know Dover, Ohio now. I know New Philly. I never thought I'd ever get there in my life.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I am. And yeah, join the Dog Pad guys and just tell Blake how much you love Milroe and McCord.
Yes, if you
He'll
guys
love it.
if you guys like how Blake gets heated and goes on rants and stuff on the podcast, get into the Discord and just push his buttons because he'll fire off in there, and it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, 100%.
It is. So, all right, yeah, and then stay tuned. We got more episodes coming up later this week. Obviously, draft night here at the end of the month. Just tap that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Please subscribe to the channel. It really does help us. Follow us on all the socials. At the Dawgs Podcast is the handle everywhere. And you know, people say, "Well, how can we help out your show?" I mean, just like our stuff, like our posts, share it, post a comment. I mean, I try to post engaging stuff on social media to get your feedback, get people involved in the conversation. So just interact, and it's a ton of fun. I love this fan base for how divided we are on everything. We are just super passionate about this team.
Yeah, let's go Brownies.
Let's go Brownies. So thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. We will catch you guys in the next one.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order. And that code can be used over and over. So you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. Dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.